All right, what's going on, Giants fans? Doing a film breakdown of the New York Giants' second-round pick, Azeez Ojulari out of Georgia, another Georgia dog for the Giants. I think he's going to walk in and compete to be the best pass rusher on this team. Because right now his competition would be Lorenzo Carter, who's coming off of a serious injury. Another Georgia dog, by the way. I really do think the SEC leader in sacks with 9.5 in 2020 in 10 games is going to come in and compete for that. And I think he's going to play right away. I really do think he's going to be the top of that outside linebacker rotation because he does do everything well. In the run game, we're going to go through what he does really well and things he can get better at. We're going to go through how he can get better as a pass rusher to start, and then even the coverage. Like the coverage, he's athletic enough and he's smart enough to really play in coverage, and that is what Patrick Graham looks for and Joe Judge looks for in their outside linebackers, and that's why he was rumored to be in play in the first round. Now, I'm very glad they got him at 50 instead of 20, but they did get a guy that was the best scheme fit for them. And Joe Judge even called, the Georgia defense a sister defense of what the Giants are trying to do. So, anyways, let's get into the film. Before that, like, subscribe, all that good crap. I gotta ask for it. Like and subscribe. And if you don't like the video at the end, just unsubscribe. Simple as that. All right, so we're going to go through the pass rush first. We got here versus Tennessee. Oh. And this is what he does that guys on the Giants can't do. I know people will make claims Lorenzo Carter can do. I don't see Lorenzo Carter doing this. Bends that edge. I mean, watch how low he gets around this edge. He's essentially on a knee. He's essentially on two knees getting around this edge. And not only bends and dips through, but now he's getting flat across. He's not rounding this out. And I think that's what makes him such an intriguing pass rusher where he could grow. Because he does have that ability to get around that corner like a lot of guys don't. And the things that he struggles with, which we'll go through, are the things he can get better at. Got him lined up here on this one. And I have way too many plays on this, so I'm going to try and not dwell on one clip for too long because I tend to do that. And you can see he's good with his hands and keeping the offensive tackle at him. So one, he has the speed to force this tackle to open his hips off. He's going to test you. He's going to test tackle's athleticism. And then with that, watch the hands. Uses those hands, good hand fight, get those hands off him, and draws a holding penalty. You'll see the ref throw a flag. 10-yard loss. 10-yard loss. Because he's able, and then again, watch as he gets straight down the line. Now we got him lined up here, on the left tackle again. This two-hand swipe. First, he gets a little chip from the tight end. Casually goes through that. And you see the strong hands. That he's engaging, swiping those hands off, ripping those hands off, and then trying to get to the QB. Again, lined up over the left tackle. Watch the hands. Left hand. See that left hand pull? Gets that tackle off balance. Watch the right hand. Watch the right hand slap the left hand off of him. Swipe the left hand off of him. Use his left hand to pull and get that tackle off balance. And now you're getting around the corner. And you're not rounding this out. Again, the ball gets out, but still, it's just pointing that out. Got him lined up over the left tackle here versus Mississippi State. The way he just gets down the line, he gets around that corner and then just gets horizontal. Again, keeps the hands off of him. Good hand fight with that two-hand swipe. Stabs with the left, swipes with the right. And then, again, a lot of guys have that move, but not everybody can pull off that move. dip and get down this line. And gets himself a nice big sack to celebrate. Got him lined up over here. Okay, so this is okay. So that's what he does well. Now, let's go through what I think made him not be a first rounder, because he does rely on his athleticism a lot and bending that edge. Now, Stone Forsythe, who isn't the strongest tackle in the world, but he's got decent athleticism, and this is where I think he's going to struggle initially in the NFL, and this is why I didn't view him as a first rounder, and I viewed him as a second rounder. It's because Forsythe doesn't let him bend that edge. Forsythe doesn't need to overset. Doesn't need to open his hips completely to keep up with that Ojulari speed off the ball. And Forsythe has some longer arms than that Tennessee guy and the Mississippi State guy that Ojulari is trying to fight, but he's not able to break those hands off. Again, on Forsythe. Tries to do the two-hand swipe. Forsythe doesn't lean. He's got the athleticism to wall him off. Set. Open the hips at a good time. And that's where his lack of strength. Now, I didn't realize he was 20 years old until this past weekend, by the way, which it really is encouraging for him. This is where strength and an inside counter will help. Because you're not going to be able to bend to the edge every play. And you're going to get tackles where you're not going to be able to bend to the edge. So what do you do then? Again, see, here does that jump chop. But it doesn't phase Forsythe. He knows he has the athleticism. He doesn't need to get over his skis to stop Ojulari. And he just shuts him down at that point. Now here's where against these athletic tackles, he does well. When they're jump setting, quick setting, and not doing when they see the tackle sets out to here instead of to here, he sets out to here. Well, then it doesn't matter how athletic Forsythe is. He's not athletic enough to keep Ojulari from getting around the corner at this, because he doesn't get that vertical set. So that's where the bend shows. It's like don't try and quick set Ojulari, because he's going to get around that corner, and if it's a longer developing play, it's going to get a hit on your QB. Even though that play ended up working out. Here we got against Alex Leatherwood, first round tackle. Again, quick set by Alex Leatherwood. Reads that run so he doesn't get too far upfield. Sees his pass. Watch the hands. Watch that right hand. Breaks that left hand off. Left hand comes and rips through. Pressuring the QB. I mean, honestly, that should be intentional grounding. Who's he throwing that ball to? And he knows it too. You see him point. Like, look. On this one, good job versus Leatherwood on this rep. I'd say this was his best, just like single vertical, rep versus a vertical set on Alex Leatherwood. Puts that left hand out, stabs, and then uses that right hand. I mean, he loves to use that left hand stab and then the right hand to break the left arm of a tackle off of him. Does that. And again, it's able to just bend and dip. I mean, look at that knee bend, getting low, not losing momentum, and getting a hand on the QB. Not every play is going to work out for your team, but it's still a good rep for him. But versus Leatherwood did get the best of him in his vertical sets. Where Leatherwood is not the most athletic, but he's athletic enough. He's not going to lean or anything. He's got a good, strong base. And this is kind of what happened all game with Leatherwood. Again, versus Leatherwood, same thing. It's where that jump chop move doesn't work against a guy like Leatherwood because he's athletic enough, he's strong enough, and that is my worry with Ojulari, is that when he faced Stone Forsythe and Alex Leatherwood, he didn't have the greatest results. Now he played really well in this Alabama game overall, but then when it was just one versus Alex Leatherwood won that battle. Like Leatherwood wins this rep. Now gets a hand on the ball. How about that? Make the best out of a bad play. I do like that. But that's what he needs to get better at. And what I think he needs to do, honestly, is start bull rushing dudes. And I know he's not the strongest player in the world, but you know what? Let me wait till the Tennessee game, the next rep, one of the reps I have next, and I'll go through that. Here, this was actually the first play of the game, and this is where you see his athleticism, and you put him against a Deontay Brown instead of an Alex Leatherwood, where Leatherwood, goes too far in that. So this is a little more of a Deontay Brown screw up, but you see the speed, the agility, and just lays a hit. That might be an interception in the NFL. And so again, against Stone Forsythe, so you're not going to get around the edge versus Stone Forsythe. Work that inside. Like the running back is there to help, but if this running back isn't here, and this isn't Stone Forsythe leaving the inside open because of the running back, like that running back's not there, he embarrasses Stone Forsythe on this rep. That if they know you're athletic and they really want to get back and make sure you don't bend the edge, well, that's when they start oversetting. And look how much he overset. Now you have that entire inside path right there. And again, the running back helps, but work that inside. If they are going to adjust to your speed, work that inside. Again, Forsythe is ready to get back there, and he leaves that inside open. And it's a good rep for Ojulari. And this is where I would, again, he's not going to be the bull rush king, but if teams felt the threat, if an offensive tackle felt the threat of Ojulari bull rushing him, it just changes what they have to be ready for. They're not just worried about I can just protect versus speed. I could set back, stop versus speed. Because if they're worrying for a bull rush and they're not strong in their base and they're worried about speed, that's when you can get some nice bull rush. You can get some guys off their feet, and it turns into counters. Like here, you see this bull, he should be spinning now. But he kind of waits. Just bull, get into his chest, get him, and then spin. He spins a little late on that one. But again, see this bull rush? See what happens when you got a guy who's worried about you bending the edge on him? When you take that inside move, he's not ready for it, and you are just in his chest. It doesn't matter how big you are. If that guy's not ready for you to put all your speed and force into his chest, you're going to put his ass on skates, and he actually gets credit for a sack on this play, I think, because he strips the freaking ball out. So that's what I want to see out of Ojulari. Add a bull rush. Don't go bull rush crazy, but just add it, man. Maybe start, the first series of every game. Just be like, I'm going to bull rush on one of the pass plays here to get this guy ready for it, and then that helps you win around speed. Having multiple ways to win. And I do think that's what will put Azeez Ojulari at the next level. And again, he's only 20 years old, so there's a lot of hope and excitement for that. But just overall pass rushing, man, this is a guy that can get around the corner. And the Giants, I don't think they had anybody like that. They had Marcus Golden, and they traded him at the deadline. Ojulari is a guy who can just get around the corner, and I'm excited for that in the passing. Now let's go through the run game. Now you see he's not the biggest dude in the world, but this is the most impressive part of his run defense. And this is against Alabama, who likes to pull a lot and has some big guards. Deontay Brown. Remember when Deontay Brown was being rumored for the first round because he was just big on TV? Anyways, draft hype is a weird thing, right? But again, so he's pulling. He sees this as a down block, and he just diagnoses this immediately. So what does he do? Close the gap. Get down. A lot of guys, especially speed guys, when they see this, They just, there's the ball, and we run at the ball full speed. And that's how they get their ass washed out. He, nope, close that gap. Sees the puller. Hits that inside shoulder of the puller. Or, hits straight up. Bam. Stonewalls Deontay Brown. And guess what now? Because he stonewalls Deontay Brown and 17 plays it right, well, there's no hole. There's no hole. So Najee Harris is just running into a bunch of bodies because there's no hole. Because what was supposed to happen was either Ojulari doesn't close this down and he's standing right here and there's a hole through the inside, or Deontay Brown was supposed to be a huge man and move his ass, and there would have been a hole. But there's not because of what Azeez Ojulari does versus the pull. Got him lined up right here on this one. So here you're going to get the right guard pulling. I mean, this is beautiful, dude. This is so fun to watch. This shows a player who I think was well coached at Georgia, and will take a sign of a guy who's going to take on to NFL coaching. He recognizes the pull and just gets low. It's like, yeah, is that guy a lot bigger than you? Yeah. Is he a lot stronger than you? Yeah. But you know what he's not going to do? He's not going to get lower than you. And if he is, it's going to be really awkward, and you're going to stop him in his freaking tracks. And guess what? Because of that, the tight end who's the lead blocker, well, he ain't got a hold of the lead block through. He doesn't have a hold of the lead block through. So Monty Rice, the linebacker, realized that gap's closed. He's about to bounce. Well, I can sit there. And then him and Azeez Ojulari, as he grabs those ankles, a tackle for a loss. And that's all because of Azeez Ojulari. So even if Azeez Ojulari sits right here and Monty Rice makes this tackle, this is a win. This is a tackle for a loss, all because of Azeez Ojulari doing his job. And Monty Rice jumping gaps. I love Monty Rice. Titans got a good player. Again, over to left tackle. Now this is a RPO. But again, doesn't lose any ground at all. If they were to hand it off, there's not much room there. Got him lined up over the right tackle on this one. I mean, just gets low in his chest. And again, lead blocker's got nowhere to go through. He's got to freaking climb through here. He's got to take his big old, size 13 feet and hike over this because the guard couldn't create a hole. So now the running back has nowhere to go. Monty Rice fills his gap, and now Azeez Ojulari is getting a tackle for 0 yards, for a 0-yard gain. So that's where he thrives in the run game. Here's where he struggles against big old dudes and setting the edge. Right here. I mean, just moves him off. I think his name's Evan Neal. I don't know. I watched him. I think he's in next year's draft. He's actually, when I finish all the Giants draft stuff, I might watch. He might be the first guy I watch for next year's draft class. But anyways, I mean, we're starting here, and he's just getting moved off his spot. So against those bigger, stronger tackles, that's where he's going to have to get better. And if I were the Giants, and I would try and get him aligned on tight ends more so than tackles. Now, here's a tackle who's not as good as Evan Neal. Does a decent job, setting this edge. Now, he's never going to get penetration setting the edge. He's never going to pop this guy and and close this wall, close this gap down. But he can hold his own, But against those bigger, stronger tackles, he's going to have some struggles. I do think. And this is where you can kind of compensate for that, especially early on. Line his ass up on the tight end side. Because he'll win that. Okay? Because he plays into this tight end. Rice is playing the outside gap. He's playing the C gap. Bam. I mean, that's beautiful right there. Again, you got him over the tight end over here. Plays into him. Gets inside. Monty Rice is playing that backside gap. Jacks that tight end up. Tackle. So that's how you can compensate for that early on. Again, over here. Now, these are some big tight ends. But again, set the edge. move him down, wall him down, get that penetration, and you get yourself a nice tackle for a 1 yard gain. Maybe 0. And then this play right here, this isn't like a technique. This is just being a dog. This is 4th and 1. 4th and 1. This is just being, being an athlete, being a football player. Again, realizes to just slam that down, and you got yourself a 4th and 1 to stop. So that's what I like. Now here, he's lined up inside the tackle right here, and he's about to get double teamed, and this is where you see the strength or lack thereof show up. And then watch him just get moved off this ball and just get pancaked in the end zone. So don't line him up inside the tackle on the guard. Don't do that, because that's going to happen, and you're going to have scoring plays because of that. And I know these formations by Georgia is a little bit of compensation versus that Mike Leach air raid. In fact, I noticed it a lot watching Joe Tryon in 2019. So I do get that. Now let's go through some of the coverage. Now the coverage is just not doing anything insane, but he does his job and he does it well. So I'm lined up here on this one. Just playing flat curls. He's got no one out here. He plays this. Got no one over here. All right, let me float. Let me play under this curl route. Let me play under this curl. So just good instincts. Lined up here on this one. So now he's got the flats. Now, I'm not sure what 7's doing. He's in man coverage on this one on the running back. Got his eyes on the QB. He feels this player right here. Not going to let his guy go out. Again, nothing special, but good. Again, lined up here on this play. This is again, this is not supposed to wow you. It's just good football. He's playing the flats. He realizes he's got no one under there. Let me float back. And now it's like, okay, the curl's here. Let me play that. Now this corner's so freaking scared of freaking getting burnt deep by Devontae Smith. And I get it's a cover 3 scheme, but react a little bit. And what I like, once that QB is scrambling, okay, well, you're not going to get those free yards. I'm going to trust that my guy is playing up on this, even though he's not really. And he gets his hands up and makes a play on the ball. You'll see it from this angle. Hands up. Lined up here. And he's just getting fit, playing the flats. Get physical with the tight end. Or receiver. Get physical with him. Get those hands on him. Rework him. Get him off his route. That's the little stuff that makes you good in coverage. Again here. Get physical. No reason to not, try and knock that guy on his ass. Get him off his route. Get that timing screwed up, okay? If this QB is reading here and he's ready to throw the flats, screw up that timing. So just simple stuff. Like he's got a good idea of how to play coverage. Some guys who are pass rushers just don't. Like they're horrible. And sometimes there's inside linebackers. Like, there's some inside linebackers I liked in this class. Nick Bolton was like, this guy's just got no feel for coverage. He's got all the ability, but he's got horrible feel for coverage. So Azeez Ojulari, man, I am really excited for this player, especially because the Giants got him at 50. And, he was not somebody I was looking at in the first round, even though he was rumored to the Giants a ton. But at 50, man, you got, what some people think is, the best just pure pass rusher in this class. I don't agree with that. But a lot of people do think that, led the SEC in sacks. So I'm excited about this player. I think Giants fans should be excited about this player because, one, we just went through it all. Two, this is a huge position of need. Now, I thought the interior offensive line was the biggest need on the Giants. But the weakest spot was the edge. The weakest spot was off the edge. You got Lorenzo Carter, who's coming off an injury. We don't know what to expect out of him. O'Shane Zimenez hasn't shown much. Ryan Anderson, he's a downgrade from Kyler Fackrell. Carter Coughlin, he's got some good traits, but he's very small. And Cam Brown's just a complete project who hasn't shown anything yet. So they got this guy. I really do think if, He's going to play his way into being that number one outside linebacker by either week 1 or by the end of the season. So I'm excited about him. Again, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll see you on the next one. I think Ellerson Smith will be tomorrow, I think.